This is a Ben Frank Connection presentation.
Hello.
Hey, it's Sunday afternoon, so you know what that means? It's a brand new episode of the Opinion City podcast.
That's right.
I'm King Ralph. He's Parmesan.
Yeah.
And we are here again for another great episode. Sean, how's it going?
It's going. It's Sunday. It's afternoon. Yeah. It's nice out. Sunny out. Summer's upon us.
Yeah. Had some fun last night watching some free wrestling on YouTube.
Yes.
So...
a bunch of wrestling last night. There was MLW Battle Riot. There was JCW late last night.
All kinds of things going on. Yeah.
A
lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Another good weekend to be a wrestling fan.
Indeed.
Well, we have got a great show for you today. We've got a great interview lined up. And, of course, be sure to stick around for our main event where we're talking top 5 Philadelphia Eagles of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Which, of course, I am super excited about.
Super stoked.
I cannot tell you how excited I am. But before we do that, a few things to take care of first. We want to thank our front row members over on Patreon. That's the Vivino93 and Adam the Guy.
Yes.
Very excited to have them as front row members. So thank you guys. They get some great rewards over there. And if you want those great rewards too, head on over to patreon.com/OpinionCityPod. Not only do you get all those great rewards, you get our Wrestling with Life episodes 5 days early before everyone else.
Indeed.
So hop on over there and check out our Patreon and join our front row members. We got a couple great memberships over there for you. So check that out.
Yes.
Now, before we get really started here, Sean, did you know? Here's a did you know fact. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
There are 3 easy ways to support the show. 3 easy ways.
3.
And what are those 3 easy ways? Well, here's the first one. Hit that like button.
Let us know that you like what we're doing.
Yes, absolutely. Please let us know that you are enjoying the content that we're providing you. So hit that like button. Number 2.
Smash that subscribe button.
Just absolutely smash it like you're, Minoru Suzuki and you're just bored. And you're just smashing people left and right in the middle of a riot. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss anything that we're doing. And number 3, hit that share button.
Share us with your friends. Neighbors,
share us with your friends. Share us with your families. Listen, go online.
Game. Meet a stranger.
Go online and find a Philadelphia Eagles fan group and just post our link all over it. Let everybody know what you know that you love Opinion City. Now, if you want to take your fandom a little bit further, guys, we've got merch.
The merch.
Please do not sleep on this merch. There's
Don't
great
sleep
merch.
on it. That's a fanny pack.
That's
We're back
a beautiful
in style,
fanny
man.
pack right there. Listen,
back in style.
You know you want a fanny pack. Everyone wants a fanny pack. Well, there's a great looking one. Boom. We have links down in the description. You'll find for all of our merch. Guys, follow us at Opinion City Pod for everything we're doing here at Opinion City. Follow us at Ben Frank Connect to see everything that's happening with the Ben Frank Connect. Never miss a beat.
Nope.
And finally, and most importantly, please follow and support our guests. You will see links running at the bottom of the screen for today's guests. So please do everything you can to go out there and support our guest. And with that, Sean, why don't you tell everybody who our guest is today?
We have another Monster Factory representative on the show. We have had many so far, but we have the one and the only Marc Raspa Jr.
Hey, there he is.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey,
my friend.
What's going on? It's going good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Good.
Obviously not as well as you. You're living in the lap of luxury there, man. You are like, it is like
hotel lavish over there.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I'm very fortunate that a friend of mine was allowing me to use their hotel right now.
Yeah,
So I can't take all the credit.
Here we go. Listen, the guy is doing so well over there that he's, a friend has let me use, this beautiful hotel room. But
gorgeous place.
It really is. It's a nice hotel room.
Yeah, looking good. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're excited to have you here. Another Monster Factory alum joining us here. We're very excited.
And for those who don't know, once again, this for us and for him, this is his first podcast appearance.
Amazing.
Breaking him in.
We are super excited to be here first. It's
I'm really glad it's you guys. I'm glad it's you guys because you guys seem really relaxed. And, the nerves are easily going away right now.
That's awesome because I have all the nerves.
I have all the nerves.
I'm kidding.
So going through your bio, you said that you've only been starting wrestling since 2022. Wow. So how is it that you have such a fandom? Like we have Raspa or Riot, Total Raspa Live. Like you are becoming one of the fastest rising stars out of the Monster Factory. What do you equate that huge fandom from?
Well, there's one big particular reason, and it was really just a few friends who started coming out, like real life friends from work. And it was on the first TRL. There was two of them, and then the second TRL ever, they came with like a dozen people and went nuts. And,
nice.
And just because, and most of them are wrestling fans, which was really cool because I had just stumbled upon this group of friends that are wrestling fans. You don't find that often.
No.
And they really, put me on the map. I can't. I mean, I try to work as hard as I can and do everything that I'm told to do, and I try to do the right thing all the time. But they really made a huge difference, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without them showing up for me week in and week out and really spreading that.
It's insane. Now I live in Pennsylvania, so obviously it's a little harder for me to get to Monster Factory shows all the time. But the one TRL I was at, you came out and the place just went nuts.
Erupted.
Like the place exploded. Yeah, they were super into you.
It's a cool feeling, and when I come out through the curtain, it's kind of blinding or deafening because I don't even realize it. I'm like it catches me by surprise every single time. I don't realize how loud they're getting and stuff like that. I'm just trying to do the best that I can, put on the best show.
Sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So in that vein, you kind of, made your own spin on the TRL letters with Total Raspa Live. So when did that start? And, what was kind of the inspiration behind all of that?
Well, so TRL, Total Wrestling Live, the show, is a play on Total Request Live, the old MTV show.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Which I loved. I thought that was a genius idea. I love like inspirations from other things. And someone at training one night literally just said Total Raspa Live. And I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Brian Murphy.
Okay.
Okay.
But don't quote me on that. And I was like, yo, that's genius. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And so I did, and I tried to mimic the logo that we originally had for TRL. And then I kind of put my own color to it. I like the yellow for some reason on the shirt, but it kind of just started because someone was just like, yo, Total Raspa Live. I was like, dude, that is so good.
Yeah.
And the t-shirts, people wear them. People like them. So apparently it was a good idea,
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, now Total Request Live was like the greatest show ever.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I was at one.
Okay. So
there
what
was
where
one
were you
I
at?
was at. I don't remember which one it was at, but there was one for school. Like it was like a school thing where we ended up going to Times Square. We ended up going to a TRL show as like a whole class. It was kind of cool. I don't remember which one it was, but I was just being there in the audience was surreal because like this is something that you watch on TV. Like you don't think that you'd be in the crowd, but there I was. I was like, oh, that's so weird because most of them, if not all of them, were taped. It was called TRL, but it was almost always taped and then aired live,
right,
like 2 days later. Like, so
I was there one time. We decided I was in college, and we decided just to go to New York City for the day. So we get up there, and we're trying to decide what to do, and we see that TRL's going on. So we were outside in the crowd, and the special guest of the day was Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, nice.
So they have people outside that are like asking questions and whatnot, and so. The one person that was standing right in front of us got to ask a question. So somewhere in the archival footage,
right,
my face is on TRL standing like right behind that guy as he's asking the question.
Right.
That's
crazy.
So
cool.
Yeah.
I love Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, they're my favorite band ever.
Yeah.
Like I seriously,
So
I
good.
love it. Oh, so good.
So good.
You guys just recently made a big announcement about big changes coming to the TRL show. What are your thoughts on the big changes coming to the look and feel of the new and improved TRL?
So I am, for one, very excited because the possibilities of what we're able to do presentation wise for TRL, being that it's going to be taped now and then airing on Tuesday, I can't wait to see what we can do, because now it's the possibilities are endless. We can splice things in, we can do backstage interviews seamlessly and make sure it's all perfect.
Right.
And you can't, it's not exactly always easy to do that on a live show.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to see what we can do now, because I think it's just going to elevate the show. I think it's going to bring more viewers, and I think we're all going to look better because of it.
Right.
Yeah. So this is something I just thought about, because we were at the Monster Factory Mania week, and we got a little tour of the building there from Danny, and he talked about how they try to teach you all the aspects of professional wrestling, all the different things that you can do. So have you been involved in any of the production aspects of it? Have you learned any of that in your time there?
So when I first started, before I ever wrestled a match, I started on the side cam. That was the first job I ever had.
Okay. All right.
So I ran the camera. The music is not my specialty, but I probably could run the music if I had to. But yeah, we are all involved. We get to see everything get done. We have to know how to do everything, because if someone's not there, someone needs to step up. Next man up mentality, So I get, but then at some point I got thrusted into wrestling matches a bunch. But I
for some reason I don't know.
Which I'm very, very fortunate for. But when I first started, I tried to do anything I possibly could do. If you needed me to run a camera or ring the bell or hand somebody a microphone, I tried to do anything I possibly could.
Right. So what was it about the Monster Factory that gravitated you towards that camp over other training facilities?
So that I love this question, because when I was a kid, I was probably like 10 or 11. Me and my dad went to go watch a Little League baseball game in Westville, New Jersey, which is right down the road from Paulsboro. And my dad, pulls me over to this guy, and he goes, "Do you know who this is?" And I'm like, "No, who's that?" And he's like, "This guy wrestled for Vince McMahon." I'm like, and he tells me this is Larry Sharp, and Larry Sharp was there. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I was like, "Whoa, no way!" And I was a kid. I was so to me, that was crazy that I met somebody who had been on WWE television,
I can imagine.
WWF. So from that moment, I was like, I didn't know wrestlers were just in my backyard,
Right.
And then my dad, was like, "Yeah, the Monster Factory is a school right down the road." So from that day, I was like, it came to me where I was like, "Oh, there's schools for this. That's so cool." So when I got older into high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't a good student. I didn't really go to college at all. Worked a bunch of different jobs, and knew I was a wrestling fan. I had the Hardy Boys came back at WrestleMania 33, and that got me back into it for good. That was oh, I need to start watching this again. and then knew that I wanted to be a wrestler. And I always knew the Monster Factory was right down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that, from the moment I graduated high school, it was always in the back of my mind, like, if I'm ever going to train, like, I'm going to walk right up and I want to hand over money and train at the Monster Factory. It was never a question, never a doubt from day one. And it's because I met Larry at a Little League baseball game. Really, that's the whole reason.
That's wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you've been wrestling, like you said, just since 2022 now. In your time as a wrestler, or even maybe before that, you talked about meeting Larry Sharp and how cool that was. Have you ever met any other big name wrestlers where you're just kind of like, wow, I can't believe like so and so is like right here?
Do you before I started wrestling or after?
Either one.
Either one.
Because I never ran into or met a wrestler before wrestling. But then as soon as I got involved, the Monster Factory was filming the Apple TV show.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I literally started while they were really busy with that.
Oh.
And a month after I started was the big 2300 arena show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Step in the arena. And for me to be a month in of training, hardly doing moves, like I'm doing very basic stuff, and I'm walking around the 2300 arena, and I Steve Macklin was the first one where I was like, whoa, that guy's standing 5 feet away from me. And that was like one of the eye-opening moments of like, this is the world I'm stepping into, Blue Meanie was there. D'Lo Brown was there. Those are the most notable ones because that day at the 2300 arena, it just sticks in my memory so hard, so well. I got to participate in a battle royal with the Headbangers.
Awesome. That's
the
awesome.
Headbangers threw me around. Yeah, I got eliminated by them. It was so crazy because Dan said, hey, if you have gear, you can be in the battle royal. And
right.
I had some gear and I just did what I knew how to do. I tried to stay in the background, but the Headbangers were like, "Oh, we're gonna have fun with you before the match." I'm like, by all means,
they were prepared. They're like, "Oh, fresh meat."
Yeah. So I was like, "All right, I think I'm gonna be just fine." So that's probably some of the bigger and most notable examples. I also tag team with Homicide not too long ago.
Wow.
There you go.
At our We've Been Here show during WrestleMania week. That was I can't thank Danny and Missy Sampson enough because they made that happen. Missy was the one who came up to me and said, "Hey, would you like to do this? I want you to do this." And I was like, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Like I cannot thank them enough, put them over because that was all their idea.
Yeah.
They wanted a 6-man tag with Homicide. And apparently I was trusted enough to be able to do that. And I'm very fortunate for that,
That's awesome. You mentioned Macklin earlier. What are your thoughts on the fact that he's going to be there facing QT Marshall for the Monster Factory Championship?
I'm excited. Well, I love it when we can get the biggest names in the building as possible. He was there during Mania Week, Macklin was, to wrestle Goldie, which was great. And he seems like a cool guy. I never really had any conversations with him. I introduced myself, said hello, but he seems like a really cool guy. Yeah. And I mean, I'd love to, learn from him. Anything really. QT Marshall. What a shock, right? He's the factory champion.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm very excited to get him in. I got to see him very briefly when I first started training, where he came in just to talk to us. Right. And it was like my first week, so I just sat back and listened, So I'm very excited to get to see them, hopefully learn a thing or two from them, study what they have to do and listen to whatever they might have to say, and hopefully get to show them what I can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they catch a glimpse of me, that's always a plus,
So you mentioned the Headbangers, and I met the Headbangers in Philadelphia the last time that they made their return to WWE, and nobody knew that they were coming in at all. So the Headbangers, those guys, everything you see on TV is everything they are. Like, they are crazy 24 hours a day.
Right.
Like, even, you know, standing in the middle of a crowd of people, they don't care. They're just like crazy, exactly what you see on TV, and they're such nice guys. So
Yeah,
it's cool that you had that experience.
Yeah.
yeah, I totally agree. Awesome, fun guys to be around.
Yeah. So, how would you say, you know, being at the Monster Factory, how is Danny Cage different maybe versus other coaches or trainers?
Well, I've never experienced any other coaches or trainers.
Okay.
Other than a few, like maybe seminars we've had. Dan, though, is very well known as an unorthodox coach. You know, he's gonna be hard on you. He's not gonna be your best friend right off the bat. He's a coach, and you kind of have to, you know, like, show him that you're gonna work hard, and then he'll take you seriously. He'll always give anybody a chance.
Right.
But all I ever have to say is he's got the track record of getting people to TV, to signing deals. So many people have come out of the Monster Factory consistently. And ever since he took over in 2011, it's just like, it's a literal factory of people. So I'm very, very appreciative of what Dan does and how he coaches, because clearly it works. And he's usually never wrong. You know, whenever he's talking, he's usually never wrong. Although he might be loud sometimes, and he gives good advice, and that's what I have to say. You know.
Fun fact: the last time we were at the Monster Factory, and we were at the Matt Harney seminar podcast, Danny actually tried to recruit this guy over here to be on.
We keep talking. We keep bringing this up. Like, we don't stop talking about this.
Wait, recruit.
Because it's
So he said-
hilarious.
all right, so
It's
we're in the
amazing.
building. Yeah. So we're in the building, and Danny comes up to me, and he's like, "So when am I going to get you in that ring?" And I'm like, "I've had 4 concussions, buddy." He's like, "Okay, we're done."
Yeah,
But then we were
yeah.
leaving the building again, and he's, you know, we were going over to say goodbye before we left, and Danny was like, "I'm gonna get you in that ring one of these days." I don't know about that.
He says he can make a wrestler out of anybody, and I think it's true. I think
yeah,
he can get anyone to
right.
wrestle a match.
The one thing I will say about Danny that I have learned, I think, in my time being at the Monster Factory, is that when Danny says take the belts home, he means take the belts home.
Yeah, take the belts home.
Guys, take your belts home.
Take your belts home.
He's not kidding.
Yeah, he does not mess around.
No, he does not.
And he doesn't like being asked twice. If he says something once, you do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
That's great.
But you know, hey, it gets shit done.
Hey, well, listen, sometimes it has to. A little tough love goes a long way, I think.
Yeah, and
Sure.
I'm a big tough love is huge. You know, it does go a long way.
So, was there a specific wrestling moment or match for you that instantly was the thing that got you hooked into wrestling?
Let me see. You know, when I first, okay, I'll tell you the moment. It was like a Monday Night Raw in 2009, I think.
Oh boy.
And
Oh no.
and there
Go
was
on.
this crazy guy named Randy Orton,
Okay.
and he literally was just punting everyone's heads off at this
Right.
time. Like all the McMahons, Stephanie, RKO and her,
Yep.
wreaking havoc, and the Raw where Triple H invades his house
Yeah.
and
Oh.
beats the living hell out of him
Oh,
and
what a
throws
great
him through the
moment.
window onto the lawn.
Great moment.
Oh man, just seeing him come through the door in the leather jacket and the
Right.
oh man, and it was like, to me, that was real. That was
Yeah.
the first time and that was
Yeah.
real. I'm like, oh my god, like, are you serious? These guys, and he gets arrested, and I'm just like, this is real. What?
Right.
And it's all, that got me hooked, and it was probably the first or second Raw I ever watched.
That's crazy.
And I think, I was in like 3rd grade or something. Had
What's
a bunch
funny
of
is
friends.
that he experienced this version when we experienced, at least I experienced, the Austin and Brian Pillman version of that, which was so much worse than that.
See,
I don't know nothing.
See, here we go. So this happens every time we have somebody on here. I'm always the oldest person in the room. Right. Everybody's talking about, like, when I was a kid and I was in elementary school and I was watching John Cena on SmackDown and Kurt Angle, or I was watching Randy Orton and Triple H. And I'm like, I can remember watching Hulk Hogan and Macho Man at WrestleMania 5. And I'm like, I'm so old. But I understand what you're saying, though, because it's moments like that. See that, that's what wrestling does to people. It draws people in, and it makes you, care about these people. It makes you care about what happens to them. It's not just about watching the moves or the match. I mean, those things are great, and we all enjoy those. But it's those moments. Everybody has one of those moments where they're just like, that's where it clicked for me, because it makes you care.
Yeah.
So
it's all about the moments.
Absolutely. Okay. So growing up, did you have a favorite wrestler, and do you currently have a favorite wrestler that you enjoy watching?
So as a kid growing up, when I got well into watching wrestling, I tuned in every Friday night because I wanted to see The Undertaker on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Because I knew
Love it.
that he was going to be there every week to beat up some jabroni, carry some storyline, and it was just the aura of the gong,
right?
The cowboy hat, and I knew as a kid that this guy was important.
Yeah,
like, this guy mattered, and he's like, I could see. I didn't know it, but I could see that this guy's like the gatekeeper of everything here.
Right.
And,
absolutely.
Yeah, and like you didn't, I didn't. I loved The Undertaker as a kid, and but also Jeff Hardy, too, is another one.
Good name. Good name.
Yeah. I absolutely adored, idolized Jeff Hardy. Had the necklace with the logo and everything.
Yeah, cool.
And then when he left WWE in 2009, I was like devastated.
Right.
Devastated. I was just like, what does this mean? Like, he's actually leaving. It didn't feel like work. I didn't know what work was at the time, but I was like, oh, he's actually leaving. Damn.
Right.
And that put a damper on things. A lot of my friends started tuning out. At that point, literally one of my friends, the friend who got me into wrestling, was like, I just, Jeff Hardy's not there anymore, and he's kind of my favorite. And I'm like, you're all right, I understand, but I'm still gonna watch because I'm still like something's really like clicking here,
Right.
But yeah, as a kid, it was Undertaker and Jeff Hardy were the two biggest ones. John Cena too, but he was always there to defeat evil. And as an adult, my favorite wrestler is CM Punk.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
In my adult life, huge CM Punk. People have opinions about him. He's done some questionable things.
He's a very divisive figure, but I think that's what makes him so important for wrestling. Is that he is a very divisive
he's
figure.
Polarizing.
Yeah.
You can't. It's like the car wreck on the side of the road. You shouldn't be looking at it.
Right.
But you can't stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I use his finishing move, the GTS. That's
there you go.
Like, I completely just stole it.
I know
it's mine now. Whatever.
Because
he stole it from somebody.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what I say. Like every
poetic license
been stolen.
Right.
Borrowing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give it back. And maybe. But also just because like he doesn't care. He says what he thinks. He also fights for the lesser person. Like, whether you want to believe that or not, like he's a celebrity, so not everyone thinks like celebrities care about
right.
But like I think he truly does care about like people who are less fortunate and those who deserve more of a spotlight.
Right.
And he speaks his mind. he speaks his mind crazy, like, and doesn't get in trouble for it. And it's like, it's cool when there can be a spokesperson who can say these things,
right?
That a lot of people might be thinking, and that sparks, like, he's changed wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
It changed wrestling, at least in my opinion. So yeah, that favorite wrestlers right now, CM Punk still.
You mentioned The Undertaker, and if I'm not mistaken, you were watching Taker during the era of when the GM was Teddy Long, and all he would do is make everybody face The Undertaker. That was his big thing.
That was the best. Yep, you're going one-on-one with The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy only knew two things: Undertaker and tag team matches.
Right, you only knew two things.
Tag team matches.
Right.
Yes.
It's like, don't let Teddy Long see 4 people in the ring.
Right.
No. Tag team match right now.
Tag team match.
It's like, don't show Teddy the TV.
Or was he make one phone call? Hey, Taker, you want to be in the match? All right, cool. Yeah. You're in match against Taker. All right.
Oh my god. And it was the best. Every time he'd say it, like,
The Undertaker.
Yeah. And sometimes it was dropped so perfectly,
right,
that you didn't know what he was gonna say, and then you're going one-on-one, and the look on the opponent's face every time, dude.
Because they know what he's gonna say, and they're like, they're like, man. Great.
All right, so 13 follow-up questions. Here we go. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
Actually, just 2 follow-up questions. They're both about The Undertaker, just your opinion. All right, so number 1.
Sure.
Undertaker, with Paul Bearer or without Paul Bearer?
Ooh.
Because we've seen a lot of both.
Now, when I first saw him was without Paul Bearer.
Okay.
But I knew about the storyline. So, I'd say with Paul Bearer.
Okay.
All right.
I think he makes the story, and he's one of my favorite managers of all time.
Gotcha.
I think, yeah.
Now this was not a part of the 2 questions, but it just popped into my head again. Have you listened to the Undertaker's podcast at all since he's been doing his 6 Feet Under?
No, I actually have not.
So one of the things that he mentioned that just blows my mind is that when they buried Paul Bearer in the concrete, that was actually oatmeal.
Oh, really?
That was hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That makes sense.
Because if you look back at pictures of it now, because as soon as he said it, I had to go find a picture.
Right.
you can't unsee it.
Can't unsee it. Oatmeal.
But,
that makes sense, because then it's, at least it's easier to,
Yeah. All right. So this is actually a question for the whole room here, and we'll start with Mark first.
Okay.
But we've seen many different versions of The Undertaker. Which one is your favorite?
My favorite. Probably that 4-year span where he fought Shawn twice at WrestleMania, and then Triple H twice at WrestleMania. That little, that just seemed like, I don't want to say his peak, but that seemed like he was at his absolute most on top of the world. Like he just seemed like the absolute biggest hill to climb, and no one climbed that hill. And I would say that about there. Yeah, that's my favorite. Only because, like I said, it's a sentimental value.
Sure.
That's when I started watching. So that's probably my favorite.
Oh, Sean.
Ministry of Darkness.
You took my answer.
All the way. Dude, just because that era of Taker, he had the best like rock and roll grunge theme song, and I loved it. It was his current theme, but like just add some awesome guitars and just everything was just epic.
Everything they did with him, the presentation included just the shaving of the beard, and like just the entrances and the stuff that he wore, like everything about him. There was such a presentation to that whole Ministry of Darkness time that it was just a fun time to be scared of the Undertaker. Yeah, because I'm sure little kids were having sleepless nights over Ministry of Darkness Undertaker.
Not good.
I mean, didn't he literally crucify somebody in the ring?
Yeah. Well, so he crucified Stone Cold, and then he tried to crucify Stephanie during the Dark Wedding.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just good times. Things that I can't believe we're even talking about right now because they'd never get on TV now.
No,
Like,
Oh
you
my
know,
goodness.
nothing of that era would ever be brought back. I don't
everything would
think.
be canceled. Yes.
Everything would be canceled.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to you. What has been your favorite match at the Monster Factory so far?
Of mine?
Yes.
Okay, so my favorite match. First one that comes to mind was a 3-on-3 tag match that I had with the Wrestling Rocker Adam Matthews and Cam Pierce against World Renowned. Which was Missy's little project she put together, and she was like, "Yeah, this is what I want to do, and I want you guys out there to do this." And we ended up like apparently it was a really good match. I had a lot of fun. I got to do like a little bit of like a jump off the apron move for the first time ever, and that. Nice. So I was like, "Ooh, I felt like a real daredevil."
Right. Yeah.
And another match. I had a match with Mike Z, the Guarantee, on a TRL, an early TRL that I really enjoyed. Like I had a lot of fun with that. It felt like I was really just dancing. Mike's a really good partner to wrestle with. A few others. I'll give you one more.
Okay.
Actually, I'm sorry. I'll give you two more.
Do it.
I had a match with Nick Petit, and it was my longest match ever on a TRL. Ooh. And he called this very, very specifically because he wanted this to be a very good match, you know. And I was very nervous because we got like 15 minutes, and I had never wrestled that long before.
Oh wow, okay.
And I was not prepared. We ended up going 18 minutes. It was a main event, so we ended up we ended up going 18 minutes, and like right off the bat, I like got kicked in the gut and wasn't ready for it, and like it felt like my whole stomach exploded inside of me.
Oh no!
And that it was at that point where I was like, oh my god, I'm not in shape right now. Like I feel so like disappointed in myself. 18 minutes later, like he gives me the code breaker after I jump off the top rope. 1, 2, 3. I walk back and everyone's like, "Yo, that was so awesome! That was great! You did so good!" And I felt like I felt like I was not good at all. I felt, but then I watched it back and felt like I didn't know who I was watching. I was like,
wow, okay.
I had never thought I'd be able to go out and wrestle a match that long and remember all the stuff that we called. Thank goodness for Nick, because he is the greatest teacher, and you know, he always takes care of you. If you're in the ring with him, if you're training, he always takes care of you. So I thank him so much. I want to put him over Nick Petit, because if it was with anyone else, I feel like I would have. I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't have been as good. But after watching it back, I'm very proud that I was able to do that, and I'm very thankful for Nick for guiding me through it. I did say I was going to give you two, but I forget the other one now.
That's quite all right.
That's so good.
Is there anybody that you haven't worked with yet that you're maybe looking forward to working with down the line?
Actually, just last night or yesterday, Dylan Mesh, I actually pulled him aside and said, "Hey, I want to wrestle you."
Okay, nice.
Yeah, just first one right off the bat, and it's crazy because I feel like I've wrestled everybody who also isn't a babyface, and if I'm gonna go with Dylan Mesh because I was just talking about that yesterday. Yeah, he's someone I do want to work. He seems like fun.
Have you had a chance to wrestle the Italian Tank yet?
Yes, actually. It was a TRL, another early TRL and he beat me pretty soundly. And that's a fun match. That's also up there in one of my favorite ones because it was short.
Nice.
But we, big man, undersized guy. We did the classic like he's way stronger than me.
Right.
I'm gonna try something off the top. He's just gonna punch me out of the air. Like
right. Nice.
We had a lot of fun. It was a short and sweet match, but I had a lot of fun with that. So yeah, that was cool. I need to get my win back over him though.
Right.
That's awesome. So, besides the Monster Factory, are you currently working, anywhere else outside of the Monster Factory now?
Currently, no. I just recently started realizing that, hey, I might be ready to start taking other bookings.
Mm-hmm.
So I just made myself an email to start taking bookings and stuff.
There you go.
I just never really branched out, never really felt confident enough to be like, hey, I want to come wrestle on your show. Or I struggle with self-doubt a lot. And it weighs on me, and so it holds me back, and that's something I'm trying to unlearn, is to just not let that hold me back.
Right.
I wrestled Sean Carlson on yesterday. He wrestles for 1CW in Delaware, and he told me like he told me a lot of things that made me feel really confident in myself. He told me I was good. He told me he wanted to work me, which was the biggest confidence boost I've ever received. Like he went out of his way to talk me up. And so, I kind of had this little awakening right then and there where it's time to start branching out, and doing the scary thing. Because it's probably not going to be that scary. I've been in wrestling locker rooms before, helping out. And I've had a few little indie appearances for a small promotion called We Are One. Wrestled about a good handful of matches. They run shows about 4 times a year. And that was me probably getting my feet wet for the very first time outside the factory.
Right.
Which I'm very, very thankful for in that, because now I'm not worried about showing up someplace where I don't know anybody,
Right.
I'm wrestling's made me confident as a person. I think I really do think that. I have no problem walking up and shaking somebody's hand, introducing myself and stuff. So the future is big and bright, as far as outside bookings, probably.
That's great to hear. So, other than grappling and getting in the ring, what hobbies do you have that you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Let's see. In my spare time, well, wrestling fills up a lot of my time. But when I do get the chance, I do like fishing.
Okay.
I got me and my dad have this 14-foot bass fishing boat with a motor on it. And we take that out as much as we can. It's always nice to be out on the water. Video games occasionally when I get the chance. But I also do, I guess this isn't really my spare time. My day job, I work at a cannabis dispensary. So that,
okay.
Yeah, in Marlton, New Jersey.
Right.
So that fills up most of the day schedule. And that is, I take pride in that. I feel really good about being able to provide such a service in a safe way. We just opened the place I work at literally a week ago.
Awesome.
So I'm really having a lot of fun getting to know this new crew and starting this new venture with them. So that's about what goes on a day-to-day basis in the life of Marc Raspa.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's talk about sports a little bit, because again, in your top 5, we're going to be getting into some sports. But with your busy schedule, do you have time to watch other sports? And obviously, we know you're an Eagles fan, but are you a fan of other sports as well?
Yeah, I'm a Philly 4 for 4.
Okay.
Eagles,
There you go.
Phillies, Flyers,
There it is.
Sixers.
Yeah.
There it is.
I
You guys are now
actually-
best friends.
Yeah. What? No union?
I don't know. I was never a soccer fan.
Me neither.
I
Right.
never got into soccer. But I would love to go to a Union game. I
Right.
love, I just don't understand all of soccer. So like, I don't understand how the game can go for like so long and then end in a 0-0 tie.
Right, right.
Well,
Just some of that stuff
Fair.
needs to be explained
That's
to
fair.
me.
That's fair.
yeah.
But yeah, in my spare time, I try to attend as many Philly sporting events as I can.
There you go.
Throughout the year.
That's amazing.
Yeah. The Phillies are on fire right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So amazing. It's like they're so good. There's like nothing to talk about. They're just winning.
Right, they're just good.
And
But we go through that almost every year,
Right.
where we're at a point where we say this team is so good,
Mhm.
we just gotta figure out how to finish.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
great, but we just gotta figure out how to finish.
Yeah, and we're gonna be in the postseason. That's for sure.
Oh, we
That's for darn
absolutely
sure.
are. Oh yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Right the wrongs from last year. I
Heck
just.
yeah. Get to October, baby.
Right.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't understand soccer either. And when the last World Cup was going on, now the barber shop I went to, and I only mention that the people that run and own the barber shop are all Puerto Rican. And so the only reason I mention that is because I'm not 100% sure that a lot of them speak a ton of English.
Mhm.
Now, I figured out ways to communicate with them because I don't speak Spanish.
Right.
So I figured out ways to communicate with them as far as my haircut goes. However, when World Cup was going on, I made the mistake of going to get a haircut during a World Cup soccer match. And they had World Cup on the TV, but it was the Spanish channel.
Right.
So I didn't understand what they were saying anyways. So there's all these things going on, and I'm trying to figure out what is happening with this game, and I can't understand any of it. I don't know what's going on, and I don't even feel like I can ask anybody because I'm not going to get an answer I can understand.
Right.
Like,
Oh my
it's just
goodness.
the only thing I can say about soccer is that to me it's too much running. Like I don't
Yeah.
get it.
Oh.
Like
So
who
much
in
fun.
that's more running than all of the track athletes at the Olympics. Like
Right.
Mhm.
I don't understand what possesses somebody to wake up in the morning and say, I want to go out there and run for a couple hours.
Right.
Not me. I don't want to run for a couple seconds, let alone
Right.
a couple hours. Jeez. And I have a friend who's a huge Union fan. He's got season tickets and he goes to every game and he's super psyched. And I just don't get it. Like to me, it's. I mean, I found Major League Wiffle Ball on YouTube last night.
Oh wow.
I was
I
looking
watched
for
that.
I was looking for
Yeah, I
Major
watched
League
that.
Wrestling, so I typed in MLW because I had it on my TV on YouTube, and I typed in MLW and Major League Wiffle Ball came up. And I was like, I would rather watch that than soccer.
Right.
So it's but yes, Philly sports, way to go, good call.
Mhm.
I don't know. We were having a conversation with somebody else about being a Philadelphia sports fan and being in that environment of Philadelphia sports fans. It's just
That was
Mhm.
that was in fact the Italian Tank.
that was yes.
That was because him and his dad are huge Eagles fans, and they
That's
went
correct.
to when they saw them win the Super Bowl, and there's a photo of them both like hit in tears, like happy, crying, like just so happy. Yeah, that was in fact the Tank.
Yeah. So, but it is just being a Philadelphia fan and being in that crowd of Philadelphia fans. It's just there's nothing like it.
No, not at all.
All right, enough about Philly sports. I've gone on too long.
We'll come back to that.
We could talk
We're gonna.
all you want.
Oh,
back
we're
to that.
gonna.
We're gonna-
Listen.
we're
We're
gonna
gonna
circle back
on
to that.
on the
Yeah.
other side. Don't worry. We've got.
we have plenty of more.
Yes.
But
Gotcha.
So you had made a statement saying that this year will be the year of Raspa. What are your goals for the rest of 2024 to complete that decree?
So, essentially, my goal with that statement was to win a championship. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think a challenge for and win a championship.
Mhm.
And obviously have it make sense.
Right.
And all that, and hopefully I would hope to be deserving of such an honor. That's essentially what I would love for that crowning moment
Mm-hmm.
to pin someone 1, 2, 3 and hold the belt, any belt. It the heavyweight title. I don't really put the word heavy in heavyweight.
Right.
I'm a
Sure.
little undersized,
Sure.
but I want to be able to call myself a champion
Right.
in this business, and
Absolutely.
I think I absolutely can. I absolutely can.
Right.
That's awesome. That's a very good goal to have.
Yeah.
I like it.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is to kind of wrap things up here, the interview portion of the show. We always ask everyone the same question at the end, and so we'll get your take on it as well. So, what does pro wrestling mean to you, and what is its significance on your life?
Pro wrestling, to me, is the greatest form of entertainment in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It is the greatest safe space, at least in my experience, in the world. All different kinds of people. I've met so many different kinds of people who bring so much to the table. It brings out the best creativity in everybody. And I think, like, if an alien came down and said, show me something entertaining, I'd show them professional wrestling. Show me what entertainment is to your species. I'd be like, here's a wrestling match. Here's the Undertaker.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Here's this is called the hero's journey.
Right.
And because you got clear good guys and bad guys, and when the good guys and bad guys are good at what they do, they get you invested without you even realizing. Wrestling to me is the greatest form of entertainment on planet Earth, and I think even people who don't watch wrestling will enjoy it if you put it right in front of them.
Yeah.
What was the second part of that question?
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
what is its significance on your life?
I like to say that wrestling changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go as far and say it saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, it might have, but I was so lost. I was sad and angry and didn't know what I was doing with my life, and knew that this was my favorite thing in the world. Like, it was the only thing that was unequivocally like, I love this. Some things come and go, trends come and go, hobbies can come and go, but wrestling always stuck around, and I was like, I want to do this. So wrestling to me is, I'm forever in debt. I'm forever in debt to wrestling. It's done so much for me in these 2 years that I never ever thought was possible. And I thank people like Danny Cage, like Missy Sampson, like Nick Batee, and I wish I had like a list right in front of me, but like right off the top of my head, those 3 people have done a lot for me in making me the person I am right here, speaking in front of you. I wish I had a bow to wrap that up with, but yeah, wrestling is my life. It's my favorite thing in the world, besides my girlfriend and my 2 dogs.
Good save. Good save.
Yeah.
I do want to say she is my biggest supporter, and if I was her, I would not have stuck around. Like, dating a wrestler isn't easy. Like, I'm busy all the time and I beat myself up, and she's always scared and she doesn't want to see me get hurt, but she's always there. Every single TRL, she's always there. She's my biggest fan, and she always puts me over, and it's just like the greatest thing in the world to have somebody like that, especially in this business. That she's along for the ride.
That's
and
amazing
I love that.
to hear. That's great.
And just like wrestling, I'm forever indebted to her for putting up with this,
Right.
Yeah. Her name's Kelsey, and
awesome.
I love her very much.
That's great. That's a good answer. So you've heard it here first. If we all get vaporized by aliens, it's because Marc Raspa Jr. showed them an Undertaker match and scared the alien goo out of them. So if it happens, we know who to blame.
Right.
But yes.
My bad.
Good answer. No. Excellent answer. So now that we know a little bit about Marc Raspa Jr., we are going to be getting into his top 5, and we are going to do that after we take a short break, and we will be right back here on Opinion City.
And we're back.
We are.
And we're back, and we're ready to get things rolling.
It's time.
It's time for the main event. Top
Yeah.
5 Eagles players of all time. I know Ralph's been chomping at the bit to get into this list.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So I'm excited to hear it. So, Marc
Very
Raspa,
excited.
take it away.
All
Let's do
right.
it.
So I'd like to go. This is in order.
Okay.
Starting at number 5 is number 5, and Donovan McNabb.
Oh, okay.
I'm going
All
to
right.
start off with him. He is my childhood hero.
Yes.
Right.
Well, growing up watching him, and those teams during the 2000s really hooked me. Made me.
Right.
Oh, Donovan. I think it was the first jersey I ever got.
Nice.
And he's got the tenure. He's got the stats.
Mm-hmm.
He's statistically the best quarterback in Eagles history.
Mm-hmm.
And it's yet to see who, if Jalen Hurts surpasses him. But Donovan McNabb is number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Move on.
Well, Donovan McNabb at number 5 is a little bit controversial. That's kind of low down the list. I mean,
Think it's low?
Well, I think it's low because I mean, I can understand why though. That throwing up in the huddle, that's a little crazy.
Right.
Donovan, eat your chunky soup.
A little too much Campbell's chunky. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I mean, there are a lot of great players. So I'm excited to see who you have ahead of him because when you look at quarterbacks from the Eagles, I mean, he's up there. So all right, I'm excited. I'm excited to see who else you've got on the list. Starting off.
All
good.
right.
Okay.
Number 4, and this is where it's going to get a little it's hard to rank these people.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is Jason Kelsey, and I wish I could put him higher, but I have reasons for the.
Okay. All right, I got you.
Jason Kelsey, of the great Eagles moments of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He is the spokesperson for this generation when it comes to great Eagles.
Right.
He was there for every great moment of the last since 2011 when he got drafted. He helped bring us a Super Bowl, which I will always love that. I'll rewatch that game so many times, and watching him run down the field screaming and yelling after the clock hit 0. The parade, the speech at the parade.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Of course. How could you not forget such a thing? I was crying as he was he was giving that speech.
Amen.
Because I felt every single word.
Right.
To be able to witness his entire career and see greatness be wrapped up in a nice little bow, and he gets to run off into the sunset, is amazing. And you only really get to see that once every few generations, I feel like.
Right.
Moving on to number 3,
Mhm.
we have Reggie White. I got at number 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because he is easily the greatest defensive player to ever play for the Eagles.
Mhm.
Probably the greatest player overall at his position ever to play for the Eagles. Only reason I wouldn't rank him higher, which he could be, is that he didn't play his whole career in Philly. It's a shame.
Right.
It's a shame they didn't re-sign him when that happened.
Mhm.
I never got to really see him play with my own 2 eyes. I was born in '99, so number 2, we'll move on. And now these 2 and 1, were really hard to put one over the other.
Okay.
Really hard.
Okay.
All right.
So I really want to call it 1A and 1B.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Duly noted.
Cool. I'm down. I'm down.
All right.
1B is Brian Dawkins, Weapon X.
Brian Dawkins. All right. Okay.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Which, personally, my favorite Eagle
Mhm.
In my lifetime. I want to be buried in his jersey when I'm dead.
Nice.
He exemplifies such an energy that I try to emulate in the wrestling ring.
Mm-hmm.
I try to be Brian Dawkins in the wrestling ring.
Right.
He's an animal, crazy. And another one. It's a shame he didn't play his whole career. He should have played his whole career in Philly. And then I'll move on to 1A.
Oh, here
and
we
1A is Chuck Bednarik.
Oh, good Lord.
Wow.
All
All right.
I
right.
am shocked by the omissions on this list, but go ahead.
I'm
not that I'm gonna-
hard.
And not
Really
that I'm going
hard
to
to
say
pick
that there's
5.
anything wrong with those choices.
Yeah, because it's your
they're
list,
all,
so it's your choices.
They're
so.
all choices
Yeah.
that should be in the discussion.
Right.
I wish it could be 10 because, and then I'd put it in no particular order.
Right.
Because it was really hard. And I tried to pick guys who are mountains over anybody else.
Right.
Chuck Bednarik set, like, he was around for the advent of Eagles football. They were god awful for a long time. They won back-to-back titles in 48 and 49. Didn't win a title till 60, and then didn't win anything ever till 2017.
Right.
Chuck Bednarik was the hardest hitting, hardest working. There's a picture of him going like this over top of Frank Gifford.
Right.
Again, and just something about that picture just speaks to me. He's also my dad's favorite Eagle. So, and I'm not trying to let that bias. There's no bias there.
Right.
No,
Right.
no, certainly not.
But I've watched there's like a small documentary on YouTube I watched of him talking about his life and stuff. And there is nobody, like, the Eagles are not what they are today without Chuck Bednarik. The last of the two-way players ever in the NFL, and retired on his own terms. They won the championship on 1960 and retired. So I put him at number 1. He's the greatest Eagle of all time.
Right.
Wow.
That's crazy. So, not that you
lot of
had one
names.
prepared, but I'm curious to see, Ralph, off the top of your head, what would be your top 5?
All right. So I would put I would, and he's almost an honorable mention, but I'd slide him into 5 just because of what he was able to do in the short time that he was there. But I would put Nick Foles at number 5 just because you have a quarterback who here went out there, backslid them into the playoffs, and then as underdogs, they beat Bill Belichick and Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. That's a huge deal. So I would probably put him at number 5. I would put Donovan at number 4. I would put I would have to put Jason Kelce in there, but I also think that, like, at the number 3 slot, it could be Jason Kelce, or I could put Jason Peters in there because Jason Peters had a great career. At number 2, I would put Brian Westbrook.
Okay.
Because I think I'm with you on the Reggie White thing. I think Reggie White, if he had played his whole career in Philadelphia, we could easily slide him into any of these slots. But again, that's my thing with him. Number one for me, and somebody that I'm shocked that you didn't even mention at all, Randall Cunningham.
Ooh,
Number one for me. 95-yard touchdown pass, 91-yard punt with ease, like he was waking up and flicking the covers off. 4-time Pro Bowler. Listen, I saw Randall Cunningham in person one time. I was at a Minnesota Vikings game when they played the Buffalo Bills up in Buffalo. This was when I was in high school, and our high school band had gone there because we were playing the halftime show. So we were in the end zone. Now, Randall Cunningham didn't get to go in during the game because he was still the backup at this time.
Right.
But during warm-ups before the game, Randall Cunningham is out there, and we're sitting in the end zone. So he is standing about maybe middle of the end zone. This guy is throwing bombs that are hitting a dime in the other end zone.
Oh my
God. It's nothing. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, if things are getting really bad with the Eagles, call Randall Cunningham.
Right.
The man is got him and his wife have a ministry they do out in Las Vegas. I'm sure he has a suit. He probably has his jersey somewhere. He could just throw it on and meet us at the game, and he could go out there and just throw bombs left and right. And and my honorable mention, and this is going to sound crazy, but I have always when we look at the Eagles over the years, and we have many opportunities to say, well, they should have done this, or they should have done this, or they should have done this. One of my biggest regrets that the Eagles never took advantage of, when they let Jeff Garcia go, they should have kept him. They should have signed him. All he wanted was a starting job.
Yeah.
But they did not go with him, even though he won like 6 games at the end of the season to get them into the playoffs the year before, and they let him go. And I always thought, you know what, that's a huge mistake. Just unbelievable to me that they were unable to keep him, because he was he was good. Now my father and I used to go to Eagles training camp every year. I think we went 10 years in a row. Now that was back in the when they were still at Lehigh University. So we went right up until the first year that they moved it back to the link. And just being able to see them down there on the field, being able to see them just do their thing. And you got to see people like Jeff Garcia, and you got to see him get the time that he deserved and be able to go out there and show you, what he was made of. But I always thought Jeff Garcia was one of the biggest mistakes that they ever made, because I was just a huge Jeff Garcia fan.
I actually have a signed football from him from
Nice.
Oh, no kidding.
That's
super cool.
I think my parents, my mom might have had a friend who worked for the team or worked for and was just able to get a bunch of random maybe 3 or 4 random players to sign it. And Jeff Garcia was one of them.
Nice.
Oh, that's super
awesome.
Cool.
So
I met Brian Westbrook one time. So back in the day, when you would go to training camp at Lehigh University, as you were going in, they would hand out tickets. And so then they would call like 3 sets of numbers. And if you were within one of those sets of numbers, you get to go in one of the autograph lines after the game was over. So it took us, I think, 9 years. And every time you'd walk in and out of training camp, like if you'd go out to your car to get something or whatever, they'd give you another ticket. So my father and I would have multiple tickets, each of us. And it took us 9 years before we got in an autograph line. But the autograph line that I was in had King Dunlop, which...
I remember him.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Huge. The man was a mountain of a man. When you talk about like wrestlers being mountain of men, like this guy
was a big dude.
This guy was enormous.
He was like 6'10" or something like that.
He was like 6'10" and like 5'2" wide. Like he was huge. And then Brian Westbrook was the other one. So I have an Eagles hat. I just bought a brand new Eagles hat in the team store, expensive because it was like the ones that they give the guys on draft day.
Right.
So I bought one of those, and I'm like, I can't just have him sign a program. Like that's kind of lame. Like I gotta get him to sign. Gotta get him to sign the hat. But I do have a few pictures to share from my my days as an Eagles fan here. That was the first year at training camp. At the link when they moved it back there. Yeah. There I am at the Super Bowl parade. It's very exciting. Where exactly were you? You were at the parade.
I was, yeah.
And where were you at?
Do you know the train station, the NRG station?
In
South Philly, right there.
Okay,
right there. That's where I was. I was right at the beginning when they first started.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I made the mistake of going down. So I went down the night before, and I stayed in an Airbnb because I thought to myself, I saw all the streets that were closing, and I'm like, if I don't go down the night before, I'm worried I'm not going to get in the city. So I went down the night before. I should have stayed the night of because at the time it was like a 3-hour drive from where I was living to Philly. However, that turned into a 6.5-hour drive to get home.
Oh no!
Because anybody who was at the parade will tell you, as we were walking down Broad Street, if I would look down the side streets, the only way I could describe it is when you look at the ocean and you can't see the end.
Right, it's just people.
That's how it was with the people. So there was actually a point when we were trying to get out of the city where we were stopped in an intersection because traffic in all 4 directions was stopped, and people were just out of their cars, sitting on their hoods because some of them had been sitting there for an hour already.
Right.
So it was just it was madness. But I was actually at the very last turn before you head down to the art museum. I was across the street from the library. So I was right on the corner of that turn, but we were there early enough that like I was right at the front. Like there may have been like one person in front of me, and then the parade is right there. So,
sweet.
Yeah, it was a really good spot. We could see the art museum off in the distance.
Right.
But it was just a really good spot. And then my last picture to share, my pride and joy.
Pride and joy.
There's me and Nick Foles.
Oh, that's amazing.
So he did a book signing at the oddly enough, I'm wearing the same hat and shirt that I'm wearing right now.
You're right.
But he did a book signing at the Bethlehem Book Company, I think it's called. The mayor of Bethlehem owns a bookstore. So obviously you're going to be able to get guys like Nick Foles, 2 weeks after the Super Bowl.
Of course.
There's so many great names we could talk about, Ron Jaworski, Harold Carmichael, there's Trey Thomas, over the years, there's just been, Philadelphia's been one of those places where you have just had, guys that were so good, come through there, and some of them, not spend a whole lot of time there, but Philly was a place where I felt like players could come in and they'd be able to show their greatness, especially players that had something, because Philly was really good about building systems around those players.
Yeah.
So it gave them a really good opportunity to, showcase some of their stuff. All right. Well, we could talk about the Eagles forever, but
we'll have to carry the conversation on elsewhere.
Yeah,
of course.
Excellent top 5.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, very, very, very well thought out. You had your reasons for everybody, and like you said, it's so hard. There's so many good names that you could put on that list, and it's all subjective, but definitely a good list. Not for nothing, but honestly, I think my favorite Eagle of all time, I always loved Jason Babin. I was a big Jason Babin fan. Going out there, putting them arms down, full sleeves on both arms, just ready to rock people's world.
Oh man, that guy was.
I loved him. Oh, I loved him so much. He was such a good player.
18 sacks one year.
Yeah,
he was
crazy. He was an animal.
I was so upset when they let him go.
That reminds me, my favorite Eagle from the Chip Kelly era was Connor Barwin. You remember that
Oh, Connor Barwin. Yes.
Wow.
Oh,
he was
man.
he was a dog, man. Oh, he was so good.
That was right. That was right around the time where I was religiously watching Sportsnet Central on Comcast Sportsnet every single day.
Right.
Michael Barkan deserves to be like he deserves an honorable mention in here somewhere because he's and former Senator Ed Helfrich. You remember he was used to be on there. Like he'd do some shows and like ridiculous stuff. But Connor Barwin. Oh, that's a great name too. Yeah, that was such a good time to be a fan because it's like when you look at the depth chart, you looked at all these names and you're like, that guy's great and that guy's great and I love this guy's attitude and this guy plays hard every down and it was one of those times where you knew everybody's name on the team, not just because you knew everybody's name, but you knew everybody's name because they went out there and did something.
Yeah.
So many personalities, but awesome. All right. So before we let you go, we are going to hop into some upcoming events. All right, we are back.
What do you got coming up in the next few weeks or months there?
Yeah, what do you got going on, buddy?
Right now, we have a long break before our next big show at the factory.
Right.
Okay.
So we got about 7 or 8 TRLs before we get to Summer Splashdown on July 27th.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have a lot of good stuff coming up in the weeks leading up to that. July 27th is Summer Splashdown. It's the Saturday. I'm pretty sure it's the 27th. I have to make sure I double check that. But that's our next big show where you'll be able to see me. And every single Friday night, you'll be able to find me at TRL. I don't have any upcoming bookings in the near future for right now, but that's about all I got to plug,
Right.
Well, yeah. So I know you mentioned you have an email for bookings. So when you're ready to let that out to the world, we'll definitely get that out there and let everybody know you're ready to start taking some bookings. That's exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. For sure. Yeah, I appreciate that. I will be in touch.
Awesome. So we got a few things coming up, Sean, huh?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So next week we've got episode 58, our interview with Nixie XS, who is big in the St. Louis area right now. We actually met her Mania Week at the Matt Hardy podcast at the Monster Factory. She was there to check out the podcast. So we are super excited to get to chat with her next week. And while you're waiting for that episode, don't forget to check out last week's episode with the
Land Shark
Brew Valen.
Yeah.
That was a great interview. We had a really, really cool time talking to him. And this coming Tuesday, we have a brand new episode of Tabletop Baristas coming out. So we're in campaign number 1, and during episode number 1, we introduced you to the world of the org and kind of got you in how let you know all about the world that we're playing in. And this episode, we are actually going to go through character creation, and myself and Joe are each going to create a character live on the show, so you can see exactly how character creation works. So it has been a great episode, Mark. We appreciate your time. And number 1 is in the books, buddy. That's it. Your first podcast is in the books.
Oh,
hey, I can't thank you guys. I can't thank you guys enough. You guys made this really easy. I appreciate it. You made this big ball of nerves over here. Definitely is going.
Well, I can tell you, here we are. We're at episode 57. We've had quite a few guests over the year that we've been doing this. You are a natural at just, because really, when you think about it, doing one of these podcasts is really just like everybody sitting down for a conversation. Like we're just hanging out and chatting.
Have a chat.
And you were very natural at it. So, you did a great job. So it was great it was great to have you here.
Indeed.
Yeah. So
it's great to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll be talking to you soon. If you want to just hang out for a few minutes, we're going to wrap things up here, and we'll be right with you. Awesome. All right. Well, number 57 is in the books. Our great conversation with Marc Raspa Jr. Monster Factory standout, ambassador of TRL, Total Raspa Live. Yeah, like it's
much took over the moniker.
Yeah. No, it was great having him on the show. It was a lot of fun. Definitely check him out when you can. Check out TRL and the upcoming big show in what did he say, in July?
Yeah, July 27th, I believe he said.
On the Monster Factory's YouTube channel. You can find them.
Splashdown.
Yeah, you can find them at Monster Factory Wrestling on YouTube. So make sure you're checking out those episodes of TRL when they come out on Tuesdays now.
New and improved.
Can't wait to see exactly what they're doing with their production and everything. I'm excited for that. So
me too.
Yeah. So with that, Sean, I think that's going to wrap us up for the week. We will see you guys next time. Thank you for all your support. We appreciate everything you do. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on socials. And we will see you next week.
We out.
This is Ultimo Ann here. You're listening to Opinion City Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Happy trails till we meet again.
Okay, thanks for watching this presentation. Like, share, and subscribe for more.